Hi, welcome back to Cache channel, which is called Cloud Soldier. Um, if you remember in our last lecture, we discussed about our networking features for AZ-104. So today, what we'll be discussing or doing in a lab, um, we will be talking about uh, virtual network peering. So basically, virtual network peering means like, say, for example, we have got one VNet with the CIDR, say 10.0.0./16, and there's another network that could be in the same region or in a different region. So this is, for example, UK South, and that could be also in UK South, or and this is also VNet, and the CIDR, which means the range of IP addresses we can carve out. Carve means like break into pieces into different subnets, so we can divide into different subnets. So this one could be 10.0.20.0/16. So they are completely different networks. Yeah. Hi, Rabia.
Hello,
And
Coach.
yeah, so they are different networks. So what we're gonna do, we will join these two VNets together. So that means you can access virtual machines from here, from this network, and you can access virtual machines from this network. So to do this, Microsoft has got a service called pairing service.
Yes.
We will create that. So to do this lab, what we will do, so what we'll do, we will, if you can see behind my screen, I've got this Visual Studio Code. So to save time, what I'm going to do, I've already created a virtual Windows VM and a Linux VM.
Yes.
This has got its own VNet,
Yes.
which is 10.0.0
Or
slash 16 address, and this one has also got different 10.20, or maybe vice versa, we can check it anyway. 10.0.20, sorry, 10.0.20.0/16, or you can have 24 or 27, whatever is required. So then I also created separately a, a bastion service. If you remember, in our last exercise, we created that service so you can access your VMs. So you can access your VMs via Bastion service. If you remember that, do you remember it?
yes.
Like we connect, and so this way we in your VMs we have got no public IP address, and you can connect to these VM via using Azure Bastion service. And this Bastion service is a service, managed service. Managed service means like managed by Microsoft, and from their backbone network, so their network, we can access that virtual machine. So in this exercise on virtual peer network, I also the reason I created Bastion service is that we will use that to connect to, after pairing, to connect to this machine which has got no public IP address. So, and it is also a different VNet, but we will connect from a bastion service different machines and different networks. So this will prove our lab and that we can the virtual network VNet peering is working and we can access machines via VNet peering. Okay, so let's if I show you, I have created Windows virtual machines like by using a Terraform, and you can show you. Yep, as you can see, this is done, and this is also done. So if we go to our Bastion service, let's go. Bastion is done. No, this is Linux, right? Right. So we're gonna also instead of creating manually, what I've done to save time, we will create via Terraform. So let's plan. See is what's gonna do. Is gonna check the Azure platform, my subscription, and see that has he got this bastion already exists or not. So see, you can create bastion service. Let's create that Terraform apply auto prove. You don't have to worry about this. This is not part of this lab. So I'm just showing you like you can create it. We in our other lectures I will show you how to do that. So just ignore me and we create these machines. Let's do that. Okay, like for example, if I go to my Windows VM to check the virtual network we created, as you can see, so this is the CIDR I explained, remember?
Yes.
And then I created a subnet underneath. We call it, and we will see what I'm not explaining to you what is var at the moment Terraform. So we'll see in the portal what subnet is created. Similarly for our Linux machine, if I go to my Linux folder, which is this one, and if we go to our main, and we can see our CIDR or 10.20.0. Remember I showed you the next VNet. So this VNet which we have Linux machine and the other VNet which we have Windows machine, we're gonna do VNet peering. And if I show you Bastion, if you remember Bastion, we have to have a dedicated subnet, which I show you here. If I go to bastions.tf main.tf, yeah. So we can see that we using same VNet which we use um, for Linux machine and for Windows machine. For in this case, I'm using one of the VNet which is used in Linux machine. Remember 10.20.0. So for this one, if you remember in our exercise, for a dedicated Azure Bastion service, we need to give a dedicated subnet name, which is Azure Bastion subnet. If you're not sure, please go and watch my last video, then you understand which is Bastion service. So this is creating Bastion, the Windows are creating. So if we go back to our portal, and if we go to portal.com and Azure, and we log on to our portal. Yes, so if you go to our virtual machines, and you can see our two virtual machines are created. Yeah, so there is Linux machine, and you can see this has got this private IP address and has got no public IP address. So this is that's why I created a Bastion service so we can connect it. And if you go to Windows machine, this has got IP address. I just give it for the sake of like and this has got this private IP address. Now we just wait till this create, and then as soon as this is Bastion service created, while this is created, what we can do, let's create a VNet peering service. Yeah, So if you go to VNet Peering's virtual network, if we just go to any of our virtual networks, so we got two virtual networks. Can you please tell me why we got two virtual networks, Rabia?
Yes.
Why we've got two virtual networks here? So one for Linux machine and
Look for Windows.
one for Windows machine. So if we go to my VNet and you can see, go to subnets, you can see this is a Linux machine. If you go to connected devices, it will tell you it is connected to. See, we're just creating a bastion also, it's all nearly created. And to the Linux network card. What does the NIC mean? Network interface
Network
card.
card.
Network interface card, yeah?
Interface card.
Okay, so we go to subnets, you can see that. It also has created a dedicated Azure Bastion subnet, which we created in here, remember?
Yes.
Azure Bastion, so it is created all, it is creating by Terraform. Now, what do? We go to pairing, add pairing, and we call it, say, Azure VNet, just call it one name, Azure VNet Peering, yeah.
Yep.
And we call, this is our resource manager, just leave it as blank, and we can select our any of the network, yeah, and just leave it as default. So basically what it will do, um, when I can explain to you now. So basically what it will do, and see what happens this time. So we call it our app net link.
App hyphen.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
And if we select our first network, which is appnet, and then we go to our other one, which was my, so basically this is your second one, my VNet link. We click and so it's creating two. Can you see that?
Yes.
So this time is working fine. So let's see, two created. So full is connected. This is my VNet pairing. If we click it, you can see that it is connected to my this address space and my other pairing name. Right. Removed. Okay. Now, like I can show again. So if we go to our bastion, we have also created bastion. So this is our bastion created already. See, it should have a public IP address. This public IP address, you can see that. It's in, but it's not showing you, but you can have a look if you want to inside. It is telling me that. Now, what we do, if you go to our virtual machines, if you go to our virtual machines and go to our virtual machines and in Windows machine we have a public IP address which we don't need, but this is a different network. You can see that 10.0.1.4, and if you go to this one, we've got a different VNet address, 10.0. So they're both different VNets, but we created a pairing. So from Windows machine, we try to connect. So if you go to a virtual Linux machine, as you can see, we do not have any public IP address, and we're not going to use any private IP address. So we're going to use Bastion service. So let's try that. See,
Yes.
we can access via Bastion. Yes. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
So I explain again. So this Linux virtual network 10.20.0 is paired with Windows machine 10.0.0.0, yeah, and we will connect this Linux machine via Bastion service, not from RDP, not for SSH, nothing, just from Bastion. So, what's the username for this one? If you go to our Linux machine, what did we create? Our Linux machine. Where is it? If you go to our main, and what's the username password here? Can you see anywhere? Yes, Azure user and password 123 hyphen, yeah. You're not talking to me. Azure user
Yes.
and
And
password
capital P.
P at
Yes.
SSW0RD123. You can check it. Yeah, it's fine. Let's connect. Allow. See, we connected.
Yes.
So we have, just to reiterate again what we have done. So we had two VNets here,
Yes.
one for Windows,
Windows or for Linux.
and this VNet CIDR was 10.0.016, and then we created a subnet.
10.0.20.
No, and this VNet is for Linux machine, and that's VNet was 10.0.20.0/16,
Yes.
and we created also a subnet here via Terraform. Okay, so there are two different VNets, and this one has a public IP address, we call it pip, and this
Yes.
has no public IP address. So this one has 10.0.0.4, and this one had private IP address of 10.0.20.4. Yeah, so our exercise is VNet peering. So what we did, we also created a Bastion service. Yeah, the reason I created Bastion service, so and also we created a peering service. Yeah.
Yes.
So the reason for doing this, so we can access this Linux machine using Bastion, and without even using a private IP address or a public IP address. So we have proved the point, like you can see, that we successfully accessed the virtual network peering by deploying that and accessing VNet Linux machine using Bastion service. I hope this is informative, and see you in our next lecture. Thank you. If you have any comments, please put comments in my channel, and
Thank
I'll
you,
come
guys.
back to you guys. All right. Thank you.